Hello, all you wonderful and amazing healers. So, today I'm going to talk about something that's a little different than the words and the energy that we send out, and that is the process of healing, right? A lot of us use old technology, and what I mean by old technology is that will bring the energy through us and send it to other people, or bring it through us and use it, somehow adjust it on other people. Whatever your process is, whether you're a masseuse or an acupuncturist or a cranial sacral therapist, there's always this kind of energy involved, or just a plain old energy healer. And this is really old technology. And what I mean by that is that there's a much more efficient process that is actually a lot more helpful. And I'll explain why in just a minute. After interviewing hundreds of amazing healers like you on my podcast, I discovered their biggest challenges include not knowing where to get started to build their healing practice, build their practice so they can attract a stable income to support themselves, and that their advertising efforts seem like a waste of time and money. I had these same frustrations during my 30-year healing history. When I finally retired as a physics professor, I needed to replace my six-figure salary fast. As a highly sensitive introvert, I couldn't use typical sales techniques. Instead, I developed a 3-step system that replaced my income within 5 months. I've helped others develop their successful healing businesses with this system, and I can help you too. I'm Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. Listen in to discover more. Thank you so much for coming back. I'm so happy you're here, and I get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, and that is the process of energy healing. Okay, so energy healing is actually comprised of a lot of different methods, right? There's spiritual healing, emotional healing, mental healing, physical healing, relationship healing, financial healing. There are healings on many different levels. And we could do it with words, we could do it with physical manipulation, we could do it with just adjusting energy, because you all have the power to do that, right? So one of the things that I did when I first learned energy healing, which was a bit around 30 years ago or so, was I noticed that I could manipulate energy and I could sense it. I have a highly sensitive neural net, and I can sense when people's thoughts change. Sometimes their words impinge on me. I could sense their mood shift. I could sense their intentional shift. I could see what's going on, and I could feel their emotions very strongly. So one of the things that I personally had to learn back then to protect myself, and I'm going to talk about the old technology versus the new technology in a minute, but this comes up very often, is that people that are highly sensitive will not be able to separate their own mood and feelings from the mood and feelings of others. So I had to learn how to empathize rather than sympathize. And what I mean by sympathizing is that you meet the other person where they're at right now, right? So what that means is that if they're feeling low or sad or angry, you get low or sad or angry along with them. And that is sympathizing. You end up in a sympathetic kind of connection with them. And so that is them pulling you down rather than you pulling them up. So the solution to that is to empathize, understand what it is they're feeling, and help bring them up to where you're at, which should be a much higher place. So that's number one. So that is to listen differently and help them solve their whatever it is that's going on with them. And for some people, it might feel cold because they're used to all the people around them sympathizing. We women are really good at it, right? And it doesn't mean that a man can't do it too, but it's just that we were kind of built that way because we have kind of the mother, we have the ability to mother and bring people into the world. And that is kind of part of the survival instinct of humans and other species, by the way. So that sympathizing is part of helping you understand, but rather empathizing helps you solve their problems. So you listen differently rather than sinking into and becoming part of their feeling. You then start thinking about, how can we solve that? What is it that that person needs? And and it doesn't mean that you have to think of the solution. You can also hear the solution from somewhere else. In other words, download it, right? And we all know how to do that. So that's part of the old technology. So the other old technology is bringing the energy through us and into other people, like Reiki. That's what I learned in Reiki. That I became a Reiki master 30 years ago. And that was one of the things that we did. We got imprinted with the symbols, and that will restrict certain things. You don't want to have that anymore. I had those symbols released out of me, and it changed the way I'm able to heal. So the old technology is bringing it through us. So what does that do? It actually creates a problem. The problem is that as the energy comes through us, it may take some of our energy as we send it out, so it depletes us, number one. And number two, it actually lowers it to our frequency, so you can't heal anybody above your frequency, right? What you want to do is give that person your full divine energy, right? Full divine energy being at 1,000, because inside we all have that core of divine energy, and it is all around us, right? So you want to give them the full divine energy. And how do you do that? Is that you direct the energy down, not through you, but into them, right? And you can also, of course, ask for a little bit of that energy too, because it is fully abundant, right? So when I imagine that beautiful healing light, that divine healing light, it is always white with a tinge of gold. And sometimes you can even have it slightly peach colored, which is gold mixed with pink, which is love energy, right? So that is what I mean by the new technology. And then lastly, I have met a lot of healers who are still using that old technology, and they'll want to do a healing exchange. And you can say no to those, right? You do not have to do that. Because, let's do a healing exchange. And I'm going, it's okay, let me just heal you, right? And so you can say no to any exchange. And the other thing that'll happen is when you're a brand new, fresh entrepreneur, a lot of times you think that you can't afford to get services from other people, so you'll do an exchange. And I have always found that I have lost in that. I have never gained from that. It is better if you each pay, like, you agree on a price and you each pay for the services. So, for example, if I'm doing healing services and I'm doing like a 13-week program, I expect full payment for that. And then if I am doing, and it's going to be a special deal, and if I am getting from that other person some service that they have, I will pay fully for that service. So it ends up being an exchange. But what if the other person backs out, doesn't deliver, and all of those other things? It's better to get paid up front. So it's free. You're free to say no to healing exchanges. I just want to let you know. And the last thing I want to emphasize in terms of old technology versus new technology, one of the things that happens, and I mentioned this last time, was about getting permission from other people. Then there's the other question is, are you able to heal them? And some people, some people just don't believe in energy healing, and they will probably not accept the energy that you guide into them, because they are not in the situation of belief. And you don't have to believe in it for it to work. But a lot of times these people will put up a barrier. I had a doctor who was urged to work with me, and she was kind of angry about it and was waiting for me to wave my magic wand and go ding and you're healed forever and ever from a 15-minute healing session, which is kind of like saying I'm going to diet for one consecutive day and I will reach my ideal weight. So remember, it doesn't work that way, because people have built up a lifetime of emotional, mental, physical, spiritual habits, and it takes a while to change. In fact, most healers I know, including myself, notice that it takes about 90 days of concerted effort to really make a big enough impact to change people permanently. They can be relieved almost permanently, but they do not change permanently, right? It takes more of follow-up, which is why I never recommend doing a single session. So what I was going to say is that you should keep a Rolodex of people, which I do. I have a Rolodex of people that I can send people to. If they don't believe in energy healing, I can send them to an alternative medicine doctor. It could be functional medicine. It could be integrative medicine. It could be homeopathic medicine. It could be something like that, where they're still not using drugs, and they're still not, they will exhaust all possibilities before they move into surgery. So having that Rolodex, that's kind of like first do no harm, right? That is part of the Hippocratic Oath, and we should follow that too. So recognize your abilities, recognize what your client will accept or your potential client will accept, and then move accordingly, because you don't have to heal everybody, right? And so doing no harm allows them to get the healing they need from the kind of healing that they will accept. Okay, that's all for today. Today what I've covered is avoid old technology, empathize, don't sympathize, draw it down into the person, not through you, and lastly, do no harm, recognize your limitations and recognize the limitations of your potential client to help them become their best selves. And in the process, you become your best self. That's all for today. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you found this message helpful, please subscribe to this channel, give me a thumbs up or a 5-star rating, and share it with your friends. To discover more about the 3-step system for attracting a generous income as a healer or intuitive coach, sign up for free at www.highpaidhealers.com. I look forward to seeing you there and in the next video.